We are in a battlefield, where a dragon and a human were facing each other. The reason was to rescue the princess who had been kidnapped by the same dragon years ago. The princess thanks him for coming to save her, and in return offers the knight to kiss her toes. This was the ultimate privilege for a knight. But our prota rejects him. He had no capacity to do something so degrading. The princess, surprised, asks him, "Then why did you come to rescue me?" Our prota tells her that he is confusing his intentions. He had not come for her. A little embarrassed, he tells her that his intentions, from beginning to end, was the evil dragon. The ambition to marry the princess did not interest him. The only thing that caught his attention in this game was to kill the evil dragon. But back to reality. Our protagonist was a simple student who was playing a video game in class. His teacher hits him. It was forbidden to play in class. He cannot believe that a person loses his future to be always playing video games, while still hitting him, scolds him for having such low grades. Surely your parents are disappointed with you. Our protagonist holds the teacher's book to stop, but this bothers the teacher even more, and full of anger gives him a blow so hard that the body of our protagonist begins to enter the video game itself. Surprised, he could not believe he had entered the video game. He could not control his body and began to fall, at full speed, towards the dragon, and in a collision their mouths collide, so to speak. The protagonist's sword flies out and breaks the chains of the princess. The princess is shocked by the scene in front of her, so she starts to misunderstand the situation. The hero tries to explain to her what happened, but before that could happen, the princess apologizes for interrupting the moment, and before the hero can stop her and explain, she leaves. The dragon was angry, so taking advantage of the distraction of our prota, proceeds to attack him with all his power. He falls burned. He thought he was going to die. His luck was bad even in a video game. But a sharp voice insults him, tells him that it was all his fault. Bastard who had stolen his first kiss. For committing such mundane acts, he had been transformed into a woman. Our prota thinks she is very pretty, despite being an evil dragon. We'll call her waifu. Sounds better than evil dragon. The waifu hits him. She didn't like that our prota made fun of her. He gets tired and apparently holds the girl's tail. Suddenly the waifu gets paralyzed. She insults him and asks him, "How did you discover my weakness?" That was the weakest point of her body. If someone touched it, it made her feel very comfortable. Our prota, knowing this bothers her a little, she can't control herself. She kept insulting our prota. He orders her to stop bothering her. Suddenly our prota starts to hear voices. They were knights coming to rescue the princess. Our prota looks at waifu's tail and finds it very suspicious, so he tries to hide it. The knights arrive. They announce that it comes from the king. They had heard that a knight had saved the princess from the evil dragon. The knights find the prota and the waifu in a strange position. It's a bit dangerous to put her on screen. The leader of the group yells at our prota, "How dare you do something fierce and nasty to his noble princess," and in a perverted exchange tells him to ignore them. They can do whatever they want. Our prota asks them why they call her princess. One of them asks if that wasn't the princess. They had seen the princess before, but that was a long time ago. She was still a child. The captain even says that if you looked at her closely, she was actually more beautiful than before. They were sure she was their princess. They asked him to accompany them. The king was waiting for them. The protagonist asked if he should go too. The captain answered in the affirmative and called him Highness Wang Ju. This because he was the hero who saved the princess. Although he reminds him that he cannot become king, but this our prota did not care. The waifu, tired, tells him, "Who is going to be princess? I'm an evil dragon." But before finishing, our prota covers her mouth and lies, saying that the princess had said she was very hungry. Already in the royal palace, the king was crying with happiness to see his daughter again after 10 years, but the queen had some suspicions. She remembered that her daughter had dark hair. The king ignored her concerns. He said that they were simple details. While they were talking, the princess's brother, who was a pervert, had a while looking at his sister's body. While the waifu was eating, one of the maids corrected her, telling her that as a princess she should cut the food and eat in an elegant way. The waifu just looked at her a little annoyed, and in one bite she ate the whole chicken. Everyone was surprised. They did not remember the princess being so different. Suddenly the front door breaks. A voice exclaims that the girl with the white hair is not the princess. This was the girl from the cave. The real princess confronts her father and yells at him that she was the real princess. The king was a little nervous. The Prota knew this was going to go very wrong. The prince is left thinking. He didn't know which of the two was his daughter. The royal princess gets angry when she sees her father's indecision. You can't even recognize your biological daughter? You're a bastard. Even donkeys are more reliable than you. She gets so angry that she hits her idiot father. The king remembers that attitude and tone of voice, and realizes that she was his real daughter, and crying they hug her and apologize. Our Prota tries to run away. He knew he was finished. He had lied and deceived the king, but before escaping a sword crosses his path. The princess asks him, "Why are you so desperate to leave?" The Prota turns and greets her nervously. The princess, surprised, remembers who it is. It was that perverted knight who kissed the dragon's lips in the cave. The Prota shouts that it was a misunderstanding. Like true weirdos, the king congratulates him for what he had done, and the queen blushes to think of all the things the Prota could do with a dragon. The astonished Prota asks, "Where's the sanity in this family?" The princess points to the waifu. She still had something to settle with that fake princess. She didn't know that girl was the evil dragon. This one approaches and yells at her to stop eating her family's food, calling her vulgar and bad. The waifu burps because of everything she had eaten. The angry princess orders the guards to be brought in. She was going to make sure the Prota and the waifu died. Our Prota tries to put all the blame on her waifu, but she loudly tells him that he had forced her to come. He should be a responsible idiot. One of the guards attacks our Prota and the waifu. This narrowly misses. Everyone had surrounded our Prota. He gets serious. He was not going to die in a video game, and without holding back he invokes his sword, thus launching a powerful attack. The guards thought it was his end, but something unexpected happens. Due to an error in his console, he had been disqualified as a player. The princess exclaims that this was justice NPC. She mocks the protagonist. Before, she thought he was someone amazing. Our Prota can only dodge her attacks. The princess had cornered him. She was going to leave our Prota childless. But suddenly she is hit and sent flying. The waifu reveals that she is actually the evil dragon. She had to protect our protagonist because this was her long-term meal ticket. The royal family, foolish as always, is delighted with the waifu's protective words, oblivious to the fact that it was actually the evil dragon. The princess and the waifu get into a fight. The waifu attacks the princess, burning her a bit. Then the princess proceeds to fight back. Editor, after this part, the whole chapter is about the waifu and the princess fighting in a silly way. The princess takes advantage of our waifu's distraction and launches a definitive attack. Our Prota gets serious seeing the great power of the attack, and raising his right hand, he summons the Thunder Sword, using a thunder incantation to protect our waifu. Even if the attack doesn't work, it can be used as a defense. This mocks the game. Even with disadvantage he could win, but because he raised his hands, he summons a lightning bolt unintentionally, thus destroying the whole palace floor. The game itself mocks our Prota. He was falling at full speed, but suddenly he is stopped by something. Our waifu had turned back into a dragon. She tells him that she didn't really want to save him. Just by chance he had fallen on her. They both leave. The princess looks at them and promises to find them and take revenge for destroying her castle. The Prota feels very relieved. At that speed they could not catch them. He thanks the sky that the waifu can still fly. She says she does not know how she did it. She had not been able to fly again since she was a child. The Prota asks her, "So what are you doing now?" She does not know, and suddenly they start to fall. The Prota yells at her and orders her to just keep flying. Waifu scolds him. It would have been better if he had kept quiet. Thus he's crashing and falling into a hut. The Prota falls on top of the waifu, in a strange position. For safety, I will not put the image. While they were embarrassed, someone interrupts them. He says that he had previously tasted wolf, bear, and lion milk, but never from a dragon. This would be interesting. Well people, until here this chapter, I wanted to bring a story a little weird. The next video will be a more serious story and possibly contain action. Give a like if you liked the video and subscribe to not miss future stories. Have a happy day brothers.